This is Home Safety. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Abena Mandi and you are welcome. Are you a lover of paintings, wall pictures, or images in general? Do you know that the pictures around us have impact on our lives? Today's episode of Home Safety teaches us the role of these pictures in our lives. Stay tuned. Oscar Kobla Ewuku is our guest for today. He's the brain behind Younger Art. You're welcome, Oscar.
Thank you.
Why painting though? Why did you choose art?
Basically, art is like my own way of expressing myself in my own universe because I feel like with art, you can add and then subtract in a way, in a more conceptual way, without any interference from the society where you find yourself. So I feel art is my own way of representing the places I've seen, people I've met, and then my own imagination.
Your own imaginations. Wow. So it means you're not just into art, you're actually passionate about it.
Yes.
Is it something you grew up learning or you went to school for that skill?
Personally, art has always been like a talent from childhood. And then I actually nurtured it through like education. So currently I'm still reading art to actually better myself in the field.
I learned you're the brain behind the arts in Jemapel, the video.
Oh yes, so for that it was more like a collaboration.
Did you do it on your own? Was the whole idea from you? I mean, the paintings and all?
Yeah, so the body art aspect is for me. It's my own designs, which I call anansinism basically.
Anansinism?
Yes.
What? I mean, relating to Anansi?
Yeah, it was inspired from, it was actually derived from Greek Anansi's like mischievous characteristics. You know, Anansi is more like the spider. So if you look at the spider's word making process, I just infused that with idiosyncratic symbology to create my personal patterns which you see on the human bodies and all that.
All right. What do pictures actually mean in our lives? Do they have any impact?
Oh yes, pictures do have impacts. Pictures are like your own imaginative, should I say, experience being captured on either a soft copy or a hard copy. So it's just like a way to preserve memory.
Do they play any role?
Yes, they do.
The memories, I mean, that's just what we can think of.
I think at the moment we having this conversation and it's being recorded on the camera is a way of preserving this particular moment of time, and that's what pictures are there for.
Okay, so I have myself with me. I can always see myself. Why do I need to have a picture of myself, my family, my loved ones, or something I love in my room?
Yeah, because at some point in time, each individual is going to like depart or leave.
That's right.
Either through death or probably through traveling or something. And then it gets to a point where you miss the person. So the only alternative there now for you is the image that you have of the person, which we can do is that memory that you had at the time together. You get it?
You have a point. Now, when somebody passes out, the loss of that person sometimes depresses us, puts us through so much stress. Does it have a way of calming us down mentally? I mean, communicating to us. Some people may look at an image and start talking, and then within minutes they are okay.
Yeah, you see, image is more like a spiritual. It has a spiritual significance.
Wow.
Because it creates the atmosphere where you feel like you can still feel the person's presence. That's why a person has departed or something.
Just the image on the wall.
Yes, because you are able to communicate to the person. Like I mentioned earlier, the memories. You're able to should I say jidavu? Jidavu. Like what? You go back in time to have that past experience of how that moment felt like.
Now talking of spiritual connotations, when I see I just see an image, like one of your paintings are some faces are covered.
Yes.
Now you don't see anything. How do I identify that this is what you mean? Is there a particular item or thing about the image that it will communicate to me?
So basically with my work, it's more of conceptual art. And then I like I mentioned earlier, I like to look at issues around my community and then see how best I can infuse that into my art. So with my community, like in Ghana per se, I realized that one major problem that we face is about our own spirituality. That's our traditional belief. And I realized that the mask is one factor that people feel like it's a hindrance to our religion. Because our current religion now, despite we are having a traditional religion there, it's now Christianity. And then the misconception about our traditional beliefs has basically wiped off that understanding of our traditional arts and all that. So when you look at the ritual marks now, which is what I use for the phases for my paintings or my individuals, you realize that the significance that used to play back then, it doesn't have that much of its importance now.
Yeah.
Because people tend to fear this mask, these traditional artworks. They categorize them as what's the name, either juju or
Yes.
you
Those
get that.
things, yes.
Yes. So it makes people have that fear when they see such artifacts. So it's my own way of like rechanging that narrative, that perception.
You mentioned that the pictures give us memories.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
want to know if there is a special connection it gives to us. Now, okay, maybe somebody can just look at a picture and feel the presence of the person and they start communicating. Is the connection that strong?
Yeah, I think
Both
it's
in with the conceptual arts and our normal images we take of ourselves and any other natural image we put in our rooms. Is the connection that strong?
yeah, I think it's strong because pictures have the power to express one's emotions. And true that it's more like picture is like a substitute of art. You know, art is very
Right.
broad. So basically, just like art, it's my own way of like capturing a moment or representing a pictorial like figure or something.
Yeah, I get it.
So with that, when someone sees art, he has his own way of connecting with it, and that connection is what actually, should I say, keeps the image going or the arts going. You get it?
Apart from the memories, the connection it gives us, how do they inspire us? How do the pictures inspire
Yeah.
us? Maybe I have a project I plan with you, and then unfortunately I pass away. How are you going to finish the project without me? Is there anything of me, my image, my pictures, my ideas, whatever it is, how is it going to inspire you to move on?
So basically, it depends on the moment. You can take a reference from, I think, Black Panther when Chadwick died.
Right.
So it deals with, if it's a huge project, it deals with the team on board. How they're going to represent or keep that preserve your memory in the space without losing your essence.
Right.
You get it? So you realize that even with his death, they found a way to actually, how would I say, appraise him in the movie.
We'll come back to talk about what inspires us to keep the person still in the family or in the home when they pass out. It's time to take on Sécurité. We'll be right back. Bonjour. According to the BBC, images have a very powerful impact on human brains. Remember how you went in for that mouth-watering food that day? Yes. And it's advisable to get rid of that image if it brings sadness to you in any way. And if all it does is to make you smile, you know what to do, right? Keep it. Allah Hussein. See you next time. Thank you for staying. That was inspiring and educative. Now, we were discussing the absence of somebody
Yeah.
prior to a project or something we both plan to do. Now, in our local families, especially when the father dies, everything in the family gets to a standpoint. Nothing moves on, nothing goes on. Now, if in our recent world, this century, if we want to change the narrative, daddy is no more, but the family still must run. How do we get ourselves inspired by having daddy's images in the room, everywhere in the house, his quotes, what he used to say? How is that going to inspire us? Is it the respect we had for him, or just the image can do it?
So you see, that's why I mentioned that pictures have a spiritual role to play, an emotional role to play as well.
Yeah.
So just like you having a picture of daddy in the home, it's evoking that sense of his presence there. That's why I that is no more. For you personally, you feel like, okay, let me just follow that to complete that structure or move in line with that same structure that he sets aside before he left.
Some people are so close to their fathers or their loved ones, whoever it may be, to the point that when they pass out, or even when they travel far away and they're not hearing from them as often as they used to, their images depress them. They see the image and they wish that I'm with the person or they are here with us. How do we regulate that?
just like I said, still with emotions. Depression is part of emotions, though. So it can either make you happy or make you
Sad in a
sad.
bit, yeah.
Yes, so it depends on how one is able to regulate that emotion, personally. Because I feel with images, just like I said, it still depends on you, how you feel about the person.
Are the colors also a factor? The colors of whatever picture you put in your room, maybe a painting, nature's flowers, or whatever it is, even or your own self and the attire you're wearing, do the colors matter?
Yes, color has a role it plays in life. Color gives aesthetics to a particular object in terms
Okay.
of beauty. And then with color, I think color has its own way of in this field of psychology. Because when people are sick, like you go to a restaurant like this, they have colors that make you feel like eating more.
Yeah.
And then when you go to the hospital, they have a particular color that makes you feel like, okay, you're going to
Be okay.
be okay,
Yes.
yes. And then each color has its own significance. You get it?
Yeah.
Like when you come to our culture, that's the Ghanaian culture. Black signifies what? Mourning, death, and all
Yes,
that.
that's
White is more
true.
like success and all that.
Yes, a
So color
victory.
has its own significant place in the society.
Now, would you recommend that a family keeps images in their rooms, and why would you do that?
Yeah, I feel if you have that courage or that emotional strength to keep an image of someone who has departed, you can go ahead to do that. But if you feel like probably it's going to haunt you, it's going to disturb you or depress you, you can basically like just tear it away or just burn them. And then if it makes you feel okay though, but then also you could also keep the image and then prefer not to look at them and just keep them for the next generation, just as a way of documenting the
Yeah.
family's generation and all that. So
Some of us just have an eye for art. They like paintings, they like pictures, anything that is well designed and put together. Some people just love it that way. Do you think that they will be at risk not knowing the foundation or the fundamentals why the person actually developed that thing and then keep it in their room? Maybe somebody buys an image of, let me say, a grass and a snake. You know how we see snakes, and then put it in your room in a traditional setting. Do you think that it will have a negative impact on the person, especially when they don't know the idea behind the painting?
yeah, so one thing about art or power keeping antiques is that you shouldn't criticize till you get to understand. You can criticize though, but then it's an intelligent way of doing that. You should get to understand why the person is doing this before you judge.
Does that mean we can't just buy any painting from the exhibition store?
Yeah, you can. You can. Like I said, paintings are just like pictures too. But then it's how you relate to the image that will drive you to getting or purchasing it. Get it? So if you relate to the work, you can go ahead to purchase it.
Do you think that images of our role models closer to us, I mean, in our room, not just on our phones, will inspire us to do better like they are doing?
Well, it depends. If you have like if it's your role model as you said, and then you probably found a particular thing about him that you feel will impact your life, then you can go ahead to have him there.
Right.
Just like someone to guide your steps. When you look at him, you feel like, okay, so I want to be like this person. I want to follow his steps. I want to get to where he has gotten to. Not the negative aspect of him though, but the positive side.
Sure.
So that basically will inspire you to what? Take your steps.
Yes, come to think of it, if my son wants to be like the president of this country, and we want an image of him to keep inspiring my son to keep up the good work, following his footsteps, reading his codes and all that. The image especially, the president's image is often at public institutions, and I've never seen it in our homes actually.
Well, people do
Is
have it
it
in their homes though.
okay? So it's advisable to keep the president's like
Oh yeah,
picture
you,
in.
you can basically keep it in your home because probably you feel like he's your role model. That's basically the positive aspect of him
Yeah.
that you want your child to emulate. So you can have that in your room to actually inspire the child to follow his steps.
Do we have specific pictures for hall? Specific pictures for bedroom, kitchen? I mean, the different rooms we have.
Well, it depends. It depends on everyone's perspective because people feel comfortable having probably nude images in their hall.
Yeah. Okay.
Or some still feel like having them in their bedroom. People could have like different images. So long as the person, it sits morally right with him, he can have that day.
You do conceptual art. Do you think that the state of your mental health has an impact on the work you do? So probably somebody is into abstracts. So whatever comes into their mind, they just put it on a surface and it becomes nice, and then they keep creating. Do you think a mental state has any effect on the art?
Okay, so with art is generally like how you basically feel inside. People have their own way of expressing themselves, or where they get the inspiration from to create their art. So like I said, mine is more like the society where I find myself, to ask empowering questions in society and all that. But then others probably they just want to express the pain that they've experienced
Yeah.
in their lifetime. Some too, there's disappointment. That's what makes art interesting. You get it?
Yeah.
So basically, yes, people.
It has an impact.
Yeah, it has an impact, and then art in general too has an impact on a mental state, like someone with
Mental
mental illness.
instability.
You
Yeah.
get it? So it has a way it's plays with the mind psychologically to keep you
Calm.
exactly.
It does that too.
Yes.
That's beautiful. We wrap up here. Time will not permit us to continue our discussion, but it has been one interesting and educative one. I hope you take note of the images you keep in your room and wherever you would like to keep an image, and then know the connotations or the meanings behind the image. We want to wrap up. Your last words, your social media handles.
Okay, so I feel like if you have any image that you feel like probably it inspires you or it inspires your kids, just have it on your wall, because basically it has an impact that is going to play in your life. So yeah, I think just go ahead and just hang it on your wall. And then my social media handles is Younger Art, or you can find me on Google as Oscar Kobama Oliauku, and then you have my social media handles on my knowledge panel.
Your knowledge panels?
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. Like I mentioned, make sure you know the meaning of the image you're keeping in your room. Shout outs to my producer, Hisrich, and SM behind the camera, and a huge appreciation going out to Younger Art. This wouldn't have been possible without them. So we meet again next time. Remember to think safety, teach safety, and practice safety.